Yo, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to go ahead and upgrade this ugly, nasty, old looking power steering reservoir with an aluminum one, and on top of that we're going to go ahead and fix a few power steering leaks that we have on the M45. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright guys, so here is an old power steering reservoir that I have from the M45 when I installed my new engine. So luckily I was able to use this one as a reference for the new one that we're going to go ahead and install, which is this one right here. As you can see, it's aluminum, looks really nice and clean. It has a nice blue color on the top of it as well, just to give an extra touch to the M45 engine bay. So I did actually go ahead and check to make sure these were the same size. And as you can see right there, they're exactly the same. Same thing with this one down there. So we should have no issues with this fitting, and it should be just a simple plug and play. Now this one right here, as you can see, it's really old and ugly. This one looks a whole lot better, and my only concern with this reservoir was going to be, is it going to have a bleeder for the system to breathe? These systems need to be able to breathe, so it has to have some type of hole or somewhere in the power steering cap in order for it to breathe, and this one does right here. This little hole right there leads to the bottom section right here where it can breathe, and air can escape from there, and also power steering fluid can escape from there as well. So that's one thing you have to make sure that these type of things have. So we'll go ahead and install this one, see if we have any issues at all, but we shouldn't. And this one is slightly larger, so these do not need to be overfilled. If I remember correctly, this one would be right here at minimum, and then once it would get hot, it would increase just a little bit when it was hot. So just think about that as well. Once it gets hot, it does go up a little bit, but it should only be going at least halfway up to the reservoir. Same thing with this one. We're only going to fill it up until about halfway. So yeah, another thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and fix a few leaks on the M45. I have a leak that is coming from the smaller hose right here, which I'll show you guys right now. So let's go into the M45 engine bay. Alright, so the hose that's leaking is right under the coolant reservoir right here. So we're going to go ahead and take this 10 mil off, move it to the side, that way we can access it easily. So with the coolant reservoir out of the way, I just pushed it to the side, took it off of this bracket right here to remove the hose, and then just move it over there. But this hose right here is leaking from right there. There's a small hole, and this line is extremely hard, so I'm assuming it's just really old and ended up cracking, but it's leaking all right there. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that because it's just getting all my other lines dirty. As you can see, it's dripping down, and it made this one dirty right there, and it just makes it look like crap. So we got to remove this right here, take this hose off, and then replace it with the new one. I thought I had one, but I'm gonna have to look around a little bit more. But if I can't find one, I could just go to my local auto parts store and get it from, like, AutoZone, for example. They should have a hose for you to be able to replace it with. Now when it comes to old hoses, over time they get really, really hard, and it becomes difficult to remove from a pipe. So I use a knife like this, a blade, and I just cut right through it. It makes it a lot easier to remove it, as it's opening the hose, so it's not as hard on there. So now you should be able to pull it off once you make like a cut through it, and it'll come right out. Alright, now we got it removed. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up right here. As you can see, that power steering fluid made a mess everywhere. So I'm going to try to clean this area right here so it doesn't look like that. And you can use some degreaser, but it shouldn't be very difficult. It should just come off by wiping it with a towel. Alright, so what I'm doing now is I'm removing this bracket right here. It has two 12 mils and then one right there to remove this bracket. And I'm going to try to figure out how I can mount this, because this doesn't have a bracket like the other power steering had at the back where it holds on to. This one comes with like a brace and then another bracket that can go like into one of those holes, but I may have to enlarge it to make it fit. And I want it to sit straight up, so I will have to bend the bracket that it came with. So I went ahead and removed the bracket that was right there, which is this one. As you can see, it's huge. And then I grabbed the bracket that it came with and I put it right there. Now, the reason I put it on all together without putting the pipe on is because I was kind of holding it into place, so I couldn't really put it in the right position. But I also needed to bend that bracket and make the hole a little bit bigger. So the original bracket looks like this. It's flat and the hole is pretty small. So I had to use my drill bit to go ahead and make it a little bit larger to fit in between this bolt right there. I got it through. And then what I did is I tie in the clamp, and then I grabbed the whole reservoir and I pulled it up and bent it into place just like that. So all we have to do now is tie in it and make it as straight as possible, and then we should be good. Now the good thing is that the hoses actually keep it up in place so this thing won't fall down, and then this right here is just going to hold it so it doesn't move around, and it has pretty good clearance. You just have to, you know, pull it out a little bit just like that, and it doesn't hit anything at all. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. I like how it looks so far. We just got to tie in this clamp right here, tie in that bolt right there, put the hoses on, and then we gotta most likely buy a new hose because I couldn't find one for that right there. So let's go ahead and finish this up really quick. Alright, so we got everything installed now. Got a new hose right there. You're supposed to buy one that's already like made for the M45, but nobody had one in stock. So I just picked this one up, see if we have any issues with it. I mean, we shouldn't, but we'll see once we turn everything on, see if we have any leaks. But we had to replace that hose because it just kept leaking from the side right there. But let's go ahead and put the coolant back over here, add some fluid, and see if everything's okay. Alright, there you guys go. Everything's installed, no leaks, nothing coming out from any of the hoses or anything like that. Looks good right there. There you can see the fluid. As you can see, it's not filled up all the way to the top. I just let it go up to that point right there, the highest point. And it hasn't been leaking, so it's been doing pretty good. So I'll give it like a day. I'll drive it around, see if I have any leaks. If not, then everything should be good. I do like the blue cap color, it looks really nice. So I would like to do my manifold that exact same color. That would look really clean. But you can see it looks a whole lot better. The only thing that's really killing it right now is this right here, which I could probably just paint like black. And then this right here, I can upgrade this as well, but I'm kind of skeptical of doing that because I'm not finding really any like nice and clean reservoirs. I've seen some simple ones that are kind of like this but longer that we could replace this with, but I really have to think about it if I want to do that. But that would be another upgrade that we can do to the engine bay. But yeah, that looks really nice and clean. Alright guys, so that's going to conclude the video. Hopefully you guys like it. I'm honestly in love with how it came out. It looks really nice and clean, especially because I have chrome in the car already with the intake. It just puts everything together. I have an oil catch can as well. And I'm really trying to find things that I can install on the M45 because there's not a lot of aftermarket support on this platform, unfortunately. So you really have to find things that are gonna look sick and fit on this car. Luckily, this fit with no problem, but I did check out the Reservoir before ordering it to make sure that I actually look the same and I have the fittings going down, because if you get it for like a 370Z, you may have some issues with the fitting when it comes to the hose. Now, the reason I say that is because with this Reservoir right here for the M45, it goes down. Now, for the 370Z, this one does go down like that, but the middle one, which is a larger hose right here, it actually angles out like this. So you may have some trouble with it fitting properly, and you may have to locate it in order for it to push it out forward so it's straight and you can connect it properly to the hose. The reason I say that you may have a problem is because if it's angled like this, you could imagine that the hose is just going to plug in, but if you move it more out, the hose would move more out as well, which may have a fitment issue. Because with the M45, as soon as I plugged it in, it was a perfect fitment, good to go. But as soon as you move it around, you don't have that space anymore. It's stuck in that placement. So that's why I had to put the bracket where I put it at on the M45, because I couldn't really move it around where I wanted it. So that's something to think about, but it should work for other GZ platforms. But you may have to make more modifications if you really want it to work without any problems. But so far it's doing good, no issues, love how it looks. And it was relatively cheap. It was like 35 bucks. I reached out to somebody else online that actually makes the Reservoirs for the 370Z specifically, and they were trying to charge me like $350, which is really expensive for a can. So to me, it was a no-brainer just to pick this one up, try it out, see if it works, and I had no issues, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. I will go ahead and leave it down in the description below so you guys can go ahead and pick it up. Like I said, it was like about $35. And it was relatively cheap, small upgrade that you can do to your M45 just to make it look that much better. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I do have another leak that I need to fix. I only fixed one of them. The other leak actually has to do with this hose right here that goes to the steering rack. There's a leak coming from this section right here, and I need to go ahead and fix it. I have this extra line right here that I had removed from the motor when I took it out. And it's actually in pretty good condition. I just need to remove this section right here because this fitting right here is cross-threaded, so I can't really utilize this one right here. So we'll see what we can do to fix that leak. If I can remove it and take this off with no problems without damaging the line itself, we can go ahead and plug this one in. I've gone to a few stores and nobody is selling this line brand new. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw it online for like $70, which is really expensive. The only other thing that I can do is try to find one at a junkyard, but now finding M45s at a junkyard is pretty rare, if I'm being honest with you. I will be doing a modelless video on the M45 once I think I'm ready and there's nothing else I want to do to the car. But right now it's looking pretty nice and clean, so I may be putting that video out sooner than later. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.